Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. I am your host, Mike, aka Dad and Buried. As you all know, I am an Instagram star. Someone actually promoted, so I wrote an article for prevention.com, and when they shared it, they said Instagram star, and I emailed the editor, and I'm like, really? She's like, would you prefer influencer? And I'm like, nope, I wouldn't.
Nope. I prefer human being just on the internet. Yeah.
Star is incorrect, and influencer is humiliating. So let's go with neither.
What about webmaster?
Webmaster.
Webmaster of dadandburied.com.
Well, I am the webmaster of dadandburied.com. That's true. Not that anybody goes to it anymore, thanks to Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and fake news.
It's Facebook.
But I'm thriving on Instagram, and I'm still on Twitter and on Facebook. I'm even on TikTok, as you know. I'm sure you're one of my 65 devoted followers who like to watch me apply chapstick. Because you are a social media lurker. You are not a joiner.
No, sir. No way. I think just to be, super upfront about it, I'm pretty sure that my methodologies have turned out to be the correct ones.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm putting some joy back into the world.
Are you?
What are you doing?
Very angry joy.
You know what? It exists. Angry joy exists.
Okay, that's true.
We're going to get to some angry joy tonight.
Isn't there like a German word that's not Schadenfreude, but it's like something like that, where it's angry joy?
You're the poor man, Michael Fassbender, so you tell us.
I'm the poorest of all of the
poorest. But speaking of angry joy, we're taking a little bit of a different tack tonight because even though I am still quite angry, and I think a lot of us are angry during the time of coronavirus, but we did want to take a little bit of a break. It does happen to be April Fool's. Want to lighten it up a little bit.
Look at us. Changing tack.
A few months ago, we did an episode, what are your least favorite parts about parenting, or what do you hate about parenting? And this week we're going to do, what do you love about parenting?
Yeah, that was just one episode. 56, 58 episodes here, whatever it is.
Sorry.
Just that one time.
Episode.
Just that one time we did it about what do you hate.
We only titled the episode that once, but it's the entire all-encompassing thing. Except this week. This week, we're on the positivity tip.
Positive vibes. We're getting into our mind space.
And let me tell you, I think people are ready for some positivity. It's been tough. It's like day 20 of the quarantine here in New York.
Yep.
And people need to maybe talk about something besides the global pandemic that is destroying all of our lives. And lighten it up a bit and get a little step out of character for me.
Yep.
A little bit. You 100%. Are a pretty positive guy in general.
I am.
You love parenting.
And well, first of all, I love parenting, but I also love pandemics. As you know,
that's true.
I constantly, first of all, actually, it was the other day. I was, I sprayed I have bike gloves, like thin, like neoprene type bike gloves that I wear because I bicycle everywhere. And yep. But when I came in, I was spraying my gloves with isopropyl. It's just like alcohol spray because I was touching things. I was shopping. And you know what it made me think of? I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Your favorite movie of all time.
Guess what? It's all part of it. It's meant to be. It was me. I'm sitting there spraying it down. I'm like, wait, this reminds me of like I Am Legend. And then I was like, wait, maybe I am Legend.
So for people who don't know, one of the first times I met you, not the first time, but I think once I moved to New York and then I met you then, there was a running joke, which may or may not have been a joke amongst some of our friends, that I Am Legend was your favorite movie. This was years ago.
I think it was because I enjoyed the movie one time, and then I think I made the mistake of saying, actually, that was a pretty good movie. Pretty much that was the context.
But being that you're not a pop culture or movie guy, you don't talk about movies that much. So when you do, it stands out. And you mentioned that, and you're probably the only person in the world who has ever said that this is my favorite movie of all time, and you continue to stand by it. And now the fact that basically you're to blame for what's happening right now.
Okay, got it. Ipso facto, it's my fault. I've told my family a number of times, the next pandemic, I've selected a couple members of my family that I don't want to be part of, don't want to be quarantined, and they know who they are. So so next pandemic we have it all.
When I was a little kid in elementary school, we did some kind of thought process where something like a thought experiment. You were in a bunker and there's radioactivity outside after like the nuclear war. This is the 80s. This is what we talked about in class. And it was like, who do you select to like go find out? It was like a moral, ethical quandary. Like, who do you select to find out if it's still safe out there or not, or there's radioactivity?
And were you like, the nerd?
No,
get the nerd out there. Give him
no.
Yeah.
I made a really twisted scenario.
With the
I made some really twisted scenario where I was like choosing, the weakest and all this stuff. I thought I was being provocative. People loved it. And you know what? That was the birth of Dad and Buried, I think.
Okay. It wasn't because you were actually playing the clarinet and people all of a sudden started to think to themselves, maybe the guy playing the clarinet should go out and check out what's going on.
No, it was more like I started playing the clarinet in the bunker to get people to flee to their death because they hated it so much.
Well, that's a smart move. All right, so what do we got?
Funny story. Real quick, funny story. I've said that when we get to 200 ratings on Apple, I was going to play the clarinet, but I don't have my clarinet. But what I do have is my son's recorder.
Yes.
And you know what I learned? I learned how to play Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song on the recorder. I can play that on the recorder. So when we get to 200, I'm going to post some videos of that.
All right. Awesome.
Just FYI.
That's kind of content.
So if you want to support us,
yes,
give us some more ratings on Apple Podcasts.
Get that recorder.
If you want to hear that recorder, and you can subscribe and listen to us wherever you get your podcast. But we do need the ratings on Apple. Or you can, if you want, look, you're sitting at home, you're saving a lot of money because you can't go out to the bars and the ballparks and the concerts. You know what? Throw some of that cash on Patreon for us to keep building our amazing content so I can get a fancy microphone like Pete. And you can join the ranks of our friends who are already patrons. So I'm going to run through the names as I always do every week. So Ryan Miller and MS Babayan on Anchor. Thank you very much. On the single dad tier of Patreon, we got Check Your Kids at the Door, Chris Coleman, M. Cedeno 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam and Tina Davis. The dad bod tier is Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill D'Amica, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govar, and Morning Glow. The father figure tier, Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, my old friend Julie McCarthy, and Paul Apolsky. And in the world's greatest dad tier, Mary Williams and Julie Burton. Julie Burton is KSU Julie on Instagram, where we're going to hear from her. She submitted a comment for our what you love most or what you like most about parenting episode this week, which we're about to get into. So thanks to all of those folks.
Thank you, guys.
Very generous. Thanks to everybody who subscribes and listens and gives us a rating.
Yep.
And I apologize in advance for Immigrant Song on the recorder.
Yep. Don't apologize, Mike, because we're not there yet.
You know what? I own it.
It's going to take us it's going to take, by the time we're out of quarantine, we might have 200 ratings.
We only need 4 more. We're at 196.
Like I said, by the time we're out of quarantine.
I shouldn't have mentioned the recorder. People are going to start deleting their ratings.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So right after this, we'll be back.
April Fool's. All right, guys, let's get into this. It is April Fool's Day, and we're not playing a practical joke on you. We really are going to talk about the reasons we love parenting and why we love our kids. Although I'm not going to talk about why I love my kids.
You know what? I can see it in your face. I can hear it in your voice. It's hard, man.
Look, man.
You built your entire brand. This is so off-brand for you, Mike. What's going to happen?
Not only have I been hating parenting for the entirety of my 9.5 years of parenting, for the past 20 days of the quarantine, as my wife has been self-isolating because she has COVID symptoms, I have been single parenting, stuck in the house alone. And now we're doing a why I love my kids thing. And let me tell you, it's not going to be easy for me. I'm not in the best mind space for it.
Yeah.
But this is what we need. This is when we need it most. When everybody is struggling, everybody is stuck in the house, and they need a reminder.
Yeah.
Why do we do this? Why do we like parenting? Why do we love our kids? Lie to me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I thought of something today, which actually, first of all, these little goobers, they do make me laugh. And
Goobers, those are your kids.
Yeah. My goobers.
What do you like better, goobers or raisinets?
There's no question. Goobers.
There's a question.
Is there?
They
Is
both
there a
suck.
question? Yeah.
They both suck.
That's actually a good point. That was a tough one. But sometimes, most of the time it's unintentional. Every once in a while they go. But this with Corona, as kids do, everything is, oh, I'm getting Corona. He's giving me Corona.
Oh, really?
Like everything is, oh, I'm getting Corona. Dude, gross.
So
Stop
your
giving me
family's a bunch of
Corona.
hypochondriacs.
Not really. It's just more around mealtime and just, someone's like trying to like haze someone else by like giving them a wet willy, and it's all of a sudden everyone's got Corona. Yeah. And so that
do you give noogies in your house?
No noogies. There is a lot of wrestling, don't forget. I am
what about
wrestler.
Purple nurples? Was that the nipple twist?
Nah.
Well, you mentioned wet willies.
Our nurples are regular colored, always. There's no nurple action. I never was into nurple purpling.
Nobody's into nurples. Nobody's into purple nurples.
I know. So I'm not like advocate. That's not even something I'm putting in.
Well, you talk about wet willies, purple nurples, noogies,
anything
and
to do with
wedgies.
just wrestling, and then they're throwing punches, and they're making each other sick with their disgusting bodies. That's the kind of thing that makes me.
Talking about wet willies is making me sick. So maybe you should look in the mirror.
Okay.
Before you start casting aspersions at your kids.
I will, because I'll make myself sick. All right, so let's see. What do we got?
So there's my favorite comment may have been the first one at the top here that I put here, where Sarah_Ganat, I believe we got her pronunciation once in the past. She said, "I am literally crying laughing so hard that you are doing this topic this week and asking for topics or for comments." And I don't know if she's saying that because it's absurd that two guys who have spent 58 or 9 episodes bitching about their kids and why parenting is the worst thing ever is tackling a why we love parenting topic, or if it's because it's in the middle of the pandemic where we're all stuck in our homes and we're all being driven crazy by our kids. But it doesn't matter, because it's a good point. It is funny that we're doing it. It's an April Fool's joke, not because we're not doing it. Like people think when you do April Fool's, you're going to pull a rug out from under them and say, no, we're not doing that. We're doing it. You know why?
Why? This is like
remember.
April Fool's Inception, where is it April Fool's? Actually, it's a real topic, but it's April Fool's that we're releasing it. We don't know what's going on.
I literally have no idea what day it is, let alone what date.
There we go. Yeah.
But we did get a lot of comments, which I think is funny, right? So presumably the people that listen to us like to hear us bitch about our kids, and they agree with a lot of this stuff. But apparently they're all a bunch of saps.
Well, don't forget, look, here's the thing. It's not the kids per se. If the kids are great individually.
Sure.
You have individual moments with your kids, and you're like, this is awesome, right? We'll see. But then it's just the constant. It's the go brush your teeth 20 times. That's the parenting part, where you're like, I've now said this thing, I've asked nicely, and now I'm screaming my head off, and it's about brushing your teeth, which is the easiest thing in the world, which I don't understand why you can't just go downstairs and brush your teeth and get off your brother and start giving them
I literally said to my 9-year-old today, I said, all of the things that I get frustrated about are the same things I get frustrated about every day, and it never changes. Yeah. Like, make an effort. Like, if I'm telling you this, when you take off your clothes, don't drop them on the floor. If I have to say that every single day, 5,000 days in a row, maybe in the 5,001st, you realize, hey, he's going to get mad if I do this, and I won't do it. Like, what does it take to change the behavior, Pete?
Right.
Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about what we love about
it. We just immediately
old habits die hard, guys.
First one.
So the first comment, we get a little section that I like to call hugs and snugs, which is really, I think, undeniably, especially when they're younger, the best part about having kids is the affection that you get from them, and the cuddles and the snuggles, as we call them here in our house. And OG Brenna, who in another lifetime I actually worked with. This is another person. Well, back when I lived in Boston, it was my first job out of college. I worked with OG Brenna. She is Suburban Snapshots on Facebook. She's a photographer and an animal lover. And she said that my daughter, she only has one kid. She said, my daughter will be 12 in 2 weeks, and she still reaches for hugs when she wakes up. 12. Not a teenager yet. That's going to stop, right?
No,
your parade, Brenna.
Yeah, my 12-year-old, we still give hugs and cuddles and stuff. But she's in the twilight. It's sort of the dusk. Because pretty soon it's whatever, Dad.
So Kier Golden says she loves the unprompted random hugs, the signs of appreciation, and hearing "I love you." So my toddler is 4. I guess I don't know if that's officially a toddler anymore, but I'm calling him one. He will just all the time. He'll be like, "Dad," I'll go, "What?" He'll be like, "I love you." He says, "I love you" all the time. It's very cute. It's very cute. And I have a game I play with my 9-year-old where we try to beat each other to saying "I love you."
Mm-hmm.
Where I'll go, "Hey," and if he says "what," and I go, "I love you," then I'm like, point in my column. But if I say "hey" and he says and he guesses it, then he gets the point.
There we go.
Just like you, we weaponize affection.
There we go. You gamify it. That's it. Gamify love.
Gamify it. So Lamer says 2-year-olds are dicks, but the excitement of them running to meet me when I get home is everything. That faded for me. Doesn't happen so much anymore because especially now that they have each other, like when I had just one kid, he would run to me, and then as he got older, that faded. And then even the younger one now will usually be occupied with his brother doing something. Then it doesn't happen quite as much, but it is nice when you walk in the door and you get a quick hug or they run towards you. They're excited you're home.
It is. When I come home, they all start running, and of course it's somewhere in between, like around mealtime, and immediately my wife's like, "Stacy!" So I come in, it's like the kids are on the stairs, like, "Hey, Dad," and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" But I've got bags and stuff, like I'm carrying. I've got gear that I'm trying to get
your neoprene bike gloves.
Neoprene bike gloves that I'm taking off from. I'm spraying down like I Am Legend, and everyone's like all around. I'm like, "Oh, hey," and then 2 seconds later, it's like immediately everyone's hanging on me, and it's like I'm supporting now all these kids, and I'm like, "Okay, now get." And I'm like, "Get the hell off me!" Like, I start throwing kids off me. And like,
you only have so much time for that kind of stuff. Okay?
It changes. It goes from real sweet to real. That's the thing.
Split second.
See, that's the thing. These moments are like pure gold, and then they go quick. Yes. They go real quick, and they change into something else. Like, my youngest, my son, is actually very cuddly, but the thing is he'll hug, and then 1 second later, he'll just start to tighten his grip, and the next thing he wants to do is he just wants to get into headlock. He just wants to change it. Yeah, he's a boa constrictor. Exactly.
So it's funny because I've said this before. When people ask about like parenting, or whatever, I'll say like the peaks are incredibly high, but the valleys are much more plentiful, right? So like the peaks go super high, but the baseline is really, it's pretty low. It's pretty consistent. And every once in a while you get that peak. It's like smoking crack, right?
Yeah.
You smoke the crack and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I feel so great. And then it's gone. And you just you really
listen, if you guys are out there, if anyone for one random reason or another is listening to this and hasn't yet had a kid, just start smoking crack. It's just so much easier, and you get all the benefits of the parenting, but just with none of the responsibility. And who knows, maybe you lose some teeth.
Yeah, right. I think that's meth. You lose teeth with crack.
I'm pretty sure you can lose some teeth on crack too.
Probably.
Yeah. Sure.
So Jess Gwinko says she loves the same thing. When she picks her son up or gets home, he picks him up from school or gets home, he runs to her shouting "Mama." Mandy JT says, seeing that look of absolute joy on your kid's face when they see you. P. Delb says, the hugs and kisses and the sweet moments when they're not being dickheads. Again, few and far between, but it makes it all worth it, Pete.
Yeah.
Roe verb. So it's ROE verb. And I don't know if it's ROEVERB, like Roe v. Herb, some other Supreme Court case. I'm not sure. Says that she loves the cuddling. And she says, now that my daughter is older, we do more stuff together, which is another thing that we're going to get into.
I can't wait to get into that one.
But tons of people, Candice Thane, Liut Narova, talk about the cuddles and the snuggles. SR_2013_ says the unconditional love you get from your kids is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Which I think fades away.
It becomes real conditional.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Like my son, he started the other day was last week started just hysterically crying, and I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, you're gonna say no.
Oh my God.
What? He's like, and I mean, he was crying so much he couldn't breathe. And I'm like, wait, I don't understand. What I haven't done anything. I just came up the stairs. What's happening? And he's like, I want a game, and I know you're gonna say no. I'm like, well, we haven't even talked about it. And then he sat down and he explained it to me. And I said, son,
No.
No fucking way are you getting that game. Do you understand me? Go back to your stupid crying. I got stuff to do. Okay? And then I went and I started playing Grand Theft Auto right in front of me.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Vice City.
Vice
So
City.
it's funny because people are like, oh, well, my kid runs me at the door. So nowadays, sometimes when I come home, not that I'm coming home during a pandemic because I never leave the goddamn house, but nowadays when I get home, sometimes my son will be waiting for me at the door just to ask for something. Like, Dad,
Yeah.
can I have this? Can I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Can I get this game?
Right.
Can I get this download?
Right. No one's hugging anymore. It's just okay, now he's back. The approver of my apps is
Yes.
back. So I can ask him to approve some apps.
100%. So it's funny. So the one person said that it's the cuddle. So Roe Verb said, now that my daughter is older and she says she's 15, we can do more stuff together. So a bunch of people did say that. So HBMJR said doing all the fun stuff together, skiing, Disneyland, camping, the beach, traveling, all of that stuff sounds awful to me with kids. It sounds like an absolute nightmare. Camping? Why do you hate yourself?
I'm with you.
Love camping.
I love camping. I love camping. I love it. It's awesome. And all that stuff is cool. Although Disneyland
going to the beach with kids is an absolute nightmare. So Seth Meyers was one of the many like late show hosts that is like occasionally doing a dispatch from their home during this thing without the production crew, and he had a whole little riff on how horrible going to the beach is, whether there's a pandemic or not. He's like, it's not even the worst thing that could happen at the beach. The beach is horrible. I'm looking at him the whole time. I'm like, I agree with you, man.
No, but I'm with you. I'm with you, or I'm with this whole sort of genre. I think we should do an episode. I like doing stuff with my kids, and I found that my 12-year-old I really enjoy hanging out with her. Like we like going a bike. You know, we do bike riding and stuff, and just going around and just doing more grown up things.
Does she have her own neoprene bike gloves?
No, because I won't let her, obviously.
Because you have to earn
them. Mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
How else is she going to understand her order in the family? It goes neoprene, then wool, and then terry cloth.
So AR15_Roach says having someone to play Just Dance with and beating them at board games. How about same kind of thing, like play video games with them and board games. I played board games with we have Frozen 2 board game, which is sort of like Candyland, that I played twice in the past couple of days, and it has been a nightmare every time.
Is that horrible song in it where it goes ugh?
No, but I walked in the house because I had to run to the pharmacy to get something for my wife. And when I walked back in, my 4-year-old had already told Alexa to play the Frozen soundtrack. And then when that ended, he said, Alexa, play Frozen 2 soundtrack. And then I went back out to go to the store.
Yeah. Thankfully, those are still open. So.
Well, they're essential.
They are essential.
Check your kids at the door said the dance parties are fun because the kids will let it all out.
Definitely not doing dance parties, but definitely like the video games, older thing, ice skating, anything with coordination, soccer.
Girls. They don't do dance parties?
Yeah, girls can play soccer too, Mike.
I know, but do they do dance parties? Did they?
No, I don't. Well, my daughter is a dancer, so she gets home and she's like doesn't really want it. Oh, and she does TikTok all day, and it's awful. And so I've really shut down. I'm like John Lithgow. I'm like, there shall be no dancing, no more dancing.
Oh, Footloose. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's all Footloose reference, but just constantly TikToking, and this is a TikTok move, by the way, so everyone will know.
That's the TikToking pantomime. Yeah. Issa Lean with 4 eyes in the lean part, Liin, and he says, hugging my girls, cozy activities like snacks at 4 a.m. Snacks at 4 a.m.? What are you doing?
That's not a good.
If that was the way I was bonding with my kids, I wouldn't even know their names because I'm never doing that. Going for walks with them and watching movies. Watching movies was a fairly popular one that came up too. Again, don't want to rain on anyone's parade, even though it's sort of my brand. Watching movies with kids can be frustrating, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So you mentioned earlier that you love how your kids can make you laugh, often unintentionally, but sometimes not. And a lot of people said that. Caitlin B. Cooper said the silly, nonsense, rambling toddler stories. So I like the way So Deadly put this. S-E-W, Deadly. She said, they say some wild shit. That makes me laugh, which is true. Starry High HYE says, watching my kids' sense of humor develop. They're really funny. Now, so my kid, I really want my kids to have a good sense of humor, and my 9-year-old loves jokes. His jokes are just the bottom of the barrel. They're not even like knock jokes. They're just like horrible puns that aren't really puns and aren't really jokes. It's just a fight. It's just a struggle. But I really want him to hone his craft.
Okay. So you're getting him out there. Pandemic began.
I'm getting him out in front of the
mics.
mic. You got to get those reps in. 10,000 hours. But it's funny because I've shown him a lot of movies, but like the comedies, not so much, because a lot of them are like dated, and the comedies we loved when we were kids are a little bit iffy. Like if I try to show him Airplane, he wouldn't get most of it.
Are you laughing at the jokes, or are you looking at him like at the jokes?
No,
like is he being judged by
when I'm watching movies? I thought you said
yeah. Does he feel you like, oh my god, this movie? I guess it's
First
funny.
of all, I thought you were saying when he makes jokes, am I laughing? And I absolutely am not. He needs to earn that shit. I tell him, work on your material.
Right.
When it comes to funny things, movies, I haven't really shown him any of the comedies that I like. Like the stuff he likes, like slapstick, goofy stuff, Captain Underpants. He watched The Mask with Jim Carrey, which is an abomination.
Yeah. That's not good.
Considering showing him Ace Ventura, but there's some really iffy stuff.
What do you mean iffy?
Well, there's like one of the characters is like trans, and they really make it the butt of a joke, and it's just weird stuff that I don't necessarily need to get into with him yet. But I'm trying to find good comedies to show him to hone that. So there's something called so John Mulaney, I don't know, he's a comedian, right? And he created a children's show, even though he doesn't have kids, called the Sack Lunch Bunch on Netflix, which is like, it's funny for adults and kids. It's not risque. There's a lot of little kids in it, and that's actually, he really liked that, and that's actually pretty funny. It's just kind of absurd and goofy, but I would advise checking that out if anybody's listening. I enjoyed that on Netflix.
I think it's an important. I've banned certain shows that are just so dumb. They're just so dumb. Like the humor in them is like Some Assembly Required is a show where the premise is really stupid. Kids running a toy company, and everything is like the most base humor. It's like, oh, I thought you said a duck, and like people are like, ha ha ha. There's canned laughter. It's so stupid. I'm like, you cannot watch these shows. Like, watch Odd Squad.
Cannot handle.
It's
the other kind of stuff though is like a lot of shows are like the really snarky and like, why is that stuff? And then your kid starts acting like that, and you're like, either that or they live with you and they get it from you, and then it makes you hate them and yourself. So Leona Jennings Ryan said when her son farts and starts roaring laughing, that's one of the things she loves about parenting. KJM Anderson says she loves the funny shit her kid said. It's like when she drops something and her kid calls her first name, like scolding her, like Kim.
Yeah.
It's like being the person to, like, if a waiter drops something, like clap that piece of shit person, which is like funny when you're in junior high. But I guess being called by your kid, but your first name by your kid in that situation might be kind of funny. Maybe the first 3 times.
My favorite thing ever is when my middle daughter calls me big fella. Okay, big fella.
Oh,
it's so sweet. It's so funny. But usually she's doing something really annoying, and then of course what it does is undercuts my intense sort of rage, and then I'm immediately like, oh, now she gets to do whatever she wants.
But that's what you got to do. She's hacked the system. She knows what to do. That's
for that I respect her. She's a worthy adversary.
_Ackle, ORE_Ackle says my 2.5-year-old is the most hilarious person I know and makes me laugh daily.
Does he know does this person know anyone else, or maybe
no? I think it's just
okay. Yeah.
I wrote a blog post years ago that I was like, your kids aren't funny.
Yeah.
And if you're laughing at your kids for them doing goofy, stupid shit by accident, you're gonna trap yourself in a hell spiral of the worst jokes you've ever heard, and kids thinking that everything they say is funny and expecting you to laugh at everything they do for years and years, and it's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
You have to be discerning.
we've been watching America's Funniest Videos, which is one of the shows we watch together, and the reaction is so funny. It's so different from how I react when, like, a kid will take paint and walk through the house, and then they've just gone through the living room and the kid's there like in a bucket of paint, and the wife is like, or the dad or whoever's filming is like, what did you do?
Yeah, right.
I literally can't even imagine. Like I'm enraged just watching that. Yeah. It's just, that's it, and that's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you're adorable. That level of humor. That's not a. I don't. That's not a.
I'm
thing.
mostly astonished that not only that show still exists, but that someone actually watches it.
It's big. It's big in our house.
Why don't you just go on YouTube?
Because it gets really dark real quick. Funny videos.
YouTube.
They take a left turn like 1 minute in. It's like, oh, okay, this is not funny anymore. So let's keep going here.
The next category is when kids. One of the things people love about parenting is when their kids start to kind of show some of that positive behavior that parents have hopefully been modeling and teaching. I haven't gotten there yet. Don't really see much of that positive stuff. None of my lessons seem to be sinking in. All the wrong stuff to be sinking in.
Yeah. Well, I'm screaming at them. Just be nice. Stop yelling to everyone.
Honestly. But
you don't have corona. Okay, maybe you do. I'm going to give you all corona. Yeah.
Andrea _Hugger says, hold on, I actually skipped the page by accident. Andrea _Hugger says that watching her kids hit new milestones is very rewarding for her. The youngest just took her first steps. Isn't that sweet?
Independence or
NJ, hopefully. NJ Clugston says watching them reach each milestone stuff gets me in the feelers.
Yeah.
It's very sweet. KSU Julie says, my teen and tween can now outwit me. It makes me proud to see the women they're becoming.
There you go.
I do want to say, if you're getting outwitted by your teen and tween, maybe it's time for some self-reflection. Right? I'm sure your kids are smart and all, but you know what?
Oh, no. What's happening? I've had a couple run-ins with not just my oldest, my middle too. There was the other day, she goes, Dad, and she pointed to something, and I was in the middle of washing or doing something, and I turned around, washing the dishes, that is, not washing my body. That would be weird.
I should hope not.
And I don't ever do that, of course. So I turned around and I could tell she just took something. And she was just standing there like, what are you doing? And she goes, what? Are you trying to, I invented that. What are you trying to do? What did you take? And I was like, did you take your phone? Like, what, did you take money or something?
And you have no idea what you have.
I have no idea. So she goes, gotta go, big fella.
And your neoprene bike gloves.
Yeah. And then
she's dying for those.
You know what? If she takes them, maybe she might, because they got Rona on them. Well,
wow. It's getting positive real fast.
Yeah. You know what?
Janice Sack says she loves to see her kids blossom. They're 16 and 19, and I love seeing them as the humans I always hoped for.
Oh, my God. That's a very sweet thing to say.
It is. I hope I get there someday.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to them getting older and actually.
Me too, and moving out of the house. Reader 19, REIDER, says, I love seeing my son's kindness and concern when we're sad or hurt, and the snuggles he gives us to help us feel better. Sounds like he's young.
Yeah. Young.
We get that too, where our kids get concerned sometimes. Like if we're sad, they get sad, or they want to give us hugs and snuggles, and that's very nice.
Right.
The compassion is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne Marie 25 says that watching them grow up to be good people, and then they gave her grandkids to spoil. So she's a grandma.
Oh.
I wonder how many grandparents listen to us and follow me on Instagram. Maybe I'll have to ask that. There are a few.
I wouldn't. Just one. Just assume.
Just
you know what? It's like testing. Just assume.
Casey Horrell says she loves seeing them grow up and learn cool things and do good things.
I do. That actually is really sweet. I love, there's a couple memories, just two, that I have of going into my son's room and he and my middle daughter just sitting there, like playing really sweetly together, like just completely playing, like having just the greatest conversation with toys. I love that
That's
stuff.
another thing that has come up. The next one, Charlie Gisx says, when the kids actually get along and work together, it may only last half a minute, but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then Nixie81, Nixi81 says, my kids are grown, but I love that they are friends and they laugh like crazy when they're together. So definitely, especially like right now, I'm in the throes of
kudos to Nixie. That's good. That's what you want.
My two kids butt heads all the time. Obviously, they're only 9 and 4. But it is nice to dream of a day when they're friends and they get along and they're not constantly at each other's throats.
Yeah. I mean, you use the word butt heads, but look, there's other adjectives to describe. Okay. So
you know what? I use plenty of adjectives. Maybe if you were on Instagram, you would know, but you're not because you're a Luddite.
Yep.
So a handful of people like the new perspective that kids give them. And this is one of the stereotypes of having kids where it's like, oh, once you have a kid, you experience childhood again, or you see things through their innocent eyes. I don't really find any of that to be true. But some of these people do. Count the Waves says, I love the way kids get excited about the smallest things. I wish I could be more like my kids.
I know what this is. It's actually, I have to say, I really enjoy having 3. There's something about that number, and also I think I mentioned this in one of the earlier episodes, but it wasn't until the 3rd one that I got to really enjoy my son. Like I got to because the first one you're like, what the heck is going on? The second one you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. And by the 3rd one, it's like I already am dealing with 2. The third one was like a 15% extra effort, not even, maybe 5% extra effort.
Yeah, well, you care less about him though. So.
I that's actually true. Remember my story about the game? As he was crying earlier.
You're not getting shit, my man.
Exactly. No. So he just to be like more chill and just kind of zone in, like, zero in on some of the things. He has the most innocent way of asking, Dad, do you know? Like, and just I love that 3.5 seconds where he's gonna like, do you know that Rockdivore, so telling me some fact that he picked up about like Pokemon or something, and it's just like with all sincerity, he just delivers this.
You know what?
Little nugget of knowledge, and I love that.
You know what, Pete? I'm really proud of the way you're embracing this week's topic. You're really opening your heart and letting everyone know. So the
lowest ratings ever. Just
the real _ Eliza Chavez says the same thing. The way my kid's eyes light up when she's excited or learning something new.
Yeah.
Mandy Max 123 says she loves seeing the world through their innocent eyes. They're not that innocent, okay? They're naive and ignorant.
You know what? Are you sure that was that sounds a little like in different contexts, a little serial killery? I want to see the world through your eyes.
You want to put on their face?
Yeah.
Toys and movies was my next thing because a bunch of people said. Ted Theo says he loves getting to play with toys again. Jay McByerly says reliving all your childhood memories and toys, aka Lego pieces, rockets, and Nerf guns. Quinny Pig 6 instead of guinea pig, it's Quinny Pig 657 says I love getting to rewatch all my favorite childhood films with my boy. Amazing. So that's a double-edged sword. I was able to get my kid into Star Wars. He's a big Star Wars guy. He loved pretty much all of those from the get-go. He also likes the prequels. But sometimes I'll try to show him something, and like 10 minutes in, he'll be like, can we watch something else? Or usually he waits until it's long enough in that it is now too late to start a new movie, and then we get in an argument. But you're really putting your heart on the line when you're like, I'm going to show him, it's finally time. I'm going to show him one of my favorite movies, and then they don't appreciate it or they're bored and they don't like it. That hurts. It's hurt. Yeah. It's like a knife in the heart.
Well, that's when you just
like when you show your kids I Am Legend, if they don't like it, they're gonna just be crushed.
Oh no, they like it. They like it. They like it real hard. Yeah, come on, it's a classic. No, but I think it's the playing. I definitely enjoy playing, or used to play a lot when I was a kid. Like that's one of the things. Like I used to be like, oh, build Legos. Like go in your room and just like build something amazing. And of course now Lego, as awesome as it can be, has kind of like screwed the pooch, because it's like everything is so specific. Every piece is like so like a dragon scale. Yeah, it's like a dragon scale or like a moving part or something like that. And you're like, there's like the actual little blocks that there aren't. In fact, I saw a set recently that now they're going back and they're literally just selling like like 700 red
Yeah.
blocks, 700 green blocks, and like
So my
that kind of
kid
stuff.
will make like a big Avengers vehicle.
Yeah.
And then you make it, and then you're done with it, and then it's like,
Oh, you're not
I
done with
have
it.
to
You
keep
gotta
this
keep
around.
it. Yeah, you gotta
Yes.
keep it around.
Yes.
Oh, and little pieces start to fall off of it.
Oh, 100%. They're all
Yeah.
over the place. And
Yeah.
but like that's the
That's
thing. Like you can't modify it anymore. It becomes like a work of art that you need to preserve forever.
Yeah.
And then you just all of a sudden you can't use those Legos anymore.
Look at us as a society. Where have we gone?
So Brian Such says he loves teaching his 4-year-old to appreciate classic Simpsons episodes.
Okay.
The later ones are trash. So I've done this with my kid. I wouldn't do it at 4. So I started showing my kid the Simpsons a couple of years ago, and there's some questionable stuff where just like you have to answer questions, right? Where you have to be like, oh, this or that or that, because the jokes can be pretty sophisticated and some of them are iffy. I do agree that the later seasons are definitely trash. I think it probably peaks around season 10 or 11. And then I really haven't watched it. And like, it's been on for like 30 years. I haven't watched it since like 2002. But because you think it's a cartoon, oh, I can make my kid watch it. And he definitely thinks some of it is funny, mostly Bart. But as you get older, you realize that Homer is actually the funniest character. But when you're a kid, like Bart's a wise ass and he hates school and that kind of stuff. And they like that. But there is some questionable stuff that you need to explain. But I do agree with Brian Such about The Simpsons is probably one of the 2 best half-hour shows of all time.
Yep.
Seinfeld and Simpsons for me, my man.
I haven't. I've only started watching. I watched Jane the Virgin with my oldest daughter.
I've not seen that.
It's really clever. It is a little bit. It's a little bit more mature. There's elements that are questionable.
Well, yes, they're in the title. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, it was a really interesting show, and I'd much rather have her watch that stuff. And actually, I'd much rather just talk to her about the stuff that they're talking about than not.
So now we're getting into the section here where it's a little bit more in line with the typical tone of our show, where people sent in kind of the perks, the things that they get out of parenting, not just about loving their kids. Yeah. So AMRTNSN13 says, loves the parking spaces they put up front for families with small kids. I'm looking at you, IKEA, she says. You love IKEA.
Wait, what?
I don't think they do that in New York City.
They don't do that in Brooklyn. No.
Missy V1108 says, I always have snacks now, which is true. You always got some kind of junk. Delilah laughs, Dalila laughs, says, I make my kids pull the nasty shit out of the drain after I'm done doing the dishes because I hate doing it.
There you go,
Little
Delilah.
servants.
Yeah, that's like me with my come football season. It should have happened this year.
Yeah, go get me a beer.
Go get me a beer. And then it's like the whole pageantry. I got menus written up.
Yeah.
What do you want? What kind of snacks do you want? Check which one. Love it. Well, so good.
Hopefully we'll have football season this year.
It lasts about 8 minutes before my wife comes in and says, what are you doing? Just
doing?
Immediately. Yeah.
_Aladora_ says, you can make them do all the shit you don't want to do and call it chores.
That's right.
Right.
These
are your chores if you want your allowance.
Well, there we go. Well, so we've started to implement. So money is starting to register with everyone. No, it's good because, well, my son doesn't know the difference between a penny and a quarter, which is great, actually. My 12-year-old knows exactly how much money. So it's much easier to get my son to make my bed for a penny versus a quarter, which is pretty steep. But he actually did a pretty good job.
So I think making the bed is a scam. That's what I think.
Well, okay, there you go.
Mrs. Henderson 0309 says, helping make meals and cleaning as a team. She has 5 boys, 14, 10, and 6 are still at home, and she loves anything that's not related to fighting. Which trying to make them do chores is probably going to bring up some fighting. And then there's a bunch of people who just let fly with the snark. Jamila Zaid says, I think it makes me happy and feel good when my kids are being nice, obedient, and non-irritating. That's the only one I can think of. That's all she could come up with.
Yeah.
Miss Lee C says they're cute when they sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Z, BIGGSY, says, I love using my kids to get out of things, and it is an ironclad excuse. I agree with
that is a wonderful thing.
Blake Westbrook says the same thing, says using them as an excuse to get out of crappy events. Sorry, we can't come. The baby is sick. Benkini80 says having kids gets you out of social events you don't want to attend. Sorry, we can't get a sitter, or it's the baby's nap time. It really is. especially when your kids are younger and not as many of your friends have kids and they don't necessarily understand all that goes with it. It's really easy to be like, oh, I can't, my kid, whatever.
Yeah, I mean there's those friends who are like, oh, just bring them, come on, and of course they don't have kids, and you're like, listen to me, you
that will not be
stupid.
fun for me. It won't be fun for you, and it
Oh,
won't be fun
oh, come on, just bring them. I'll take care of them. Oh, really?
Oof.
For 8 minutes? For 8 minutes, you'll like hold a baby, and then you'll be like, all right.
Now what? Where's my beer?
Yeah, I know what's up.
So
yeah.
And then the final section, I like to have a random section where I'm not sure where to put comments. And some of these were really deep and profound, and some of them were funny. So underscore AMG Wit says, I love the feeling of being someone's safe place.
Wow.
Life of Lisa Gale says, it sounds hokey, but knowing I'm my daughter's number one is what she loves the most. I feel like my life finally has meaning. It's the wrong podcast.
Boy, you
right
just
episode,
keep swiping over. There's a couple other podcasts to the right or the left of this that. No, but I want to say something because I think that's.
You're gonna get sappy on me, Pete.
You know what? I love the fact that I've got a crew, that I have my crew, and I'm like, let's go, let's roll.
Someone said that. Yeah.
We go up and we just we roll as a crew. We've got everyone has their place in the team.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's go, guys. And I love rolling. We roll so deep because we're five, and people don't want to invite us anywhere. But when we do go, we roll deep and we roll good, and we bring the party. I love that.
And you ride or die, right? You ride or die.
Well, it's like I said, we lost Greg with 3 Gs, so
that's right.
That's a sensitive topic.
Casey Rack, Caise Rack says, that feeling of pride where my heart is going to explode when they do something funny or cute. Take it or leave it. Carrie J, Cariejay says, the everyday learning and new stuff that happens. Basically everything when he's not being a dick or waking me up early. Good luck with that.
Okay. Yeah, you
can. Ariel in the ATL says she loves that she and her husband have created something so different from themselves, an extrovert. That must be tough if you're introverts and your kid's an extrovert. We've talked about this where your kid is waving at people on the train. That's what my kids were like when they were really young, or my oldest. He's blowing kisses at gang members. You're like, don't make eye contact.
Yeah.
Muzafari says she loves to see her reflection in them. So she's talking about how she likes to see them act like her, and make underscore do underscore ma'am says, watching them learn, grow, and seeing myself in them. When I see myself in my kids, it just makes me hate myself even more. They have all my worst traits.
I am the worst.
And they just, the snark and the sarcasm and the stuff that I think makes me such a great hang is really tough in a little kid. And 2 of us together, it makes my wife just want to bail. It makes her want to self-isolate for 20. Wait, hold on a second. Maybe that's what
Wait a second. It's weird. There's music coming from the bedroom right now.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
So Live Life Upside Down says, when she loves when they're grown and they move out on their own and you get to choose when they visit.
Oh.
They no longer live with you. That is a nice perk.
That is a nice perk, yeah.
M. Riffin, EMREFIN says, I love waiting behind a corner to scare my kids. It's hilarious and they fall for it every time. I like doing that too, except that when it provokes tears. And then
they
are
kind of so dumb, these kids. Every time they will walk down the hallway as if nothing is about to scare them.
Hey buddy, here's a lesson. Don't trust people.
Yeah, guess what?
You
don't trust you trusting the food that you're about to eat? Guess what? Yeah. It's all Corona. You just got Rona'd.
Yeah. DTA, don't trust anybody. And then a couple of people, Gina Monkey 78 and Danielle MI84 says they love bedtime.
Yeah.
So do I, my man. My kids are still awake right now. It's 10 o'clock.
That was what episode was that? 22? Where we did bedtime?
We've done a lot of these. And Daniel M. Potter says he loves those few months where they actually listen to you and they learn something from you. That was a nice couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's all gone now.
Remember when they actually just sat quietly? Wait, what did you say?
Yeah, I think that was in the delivery room.
Yeah, exactly.
When they slap their feet or whatever, and this is the last time you learn anything or they learn anything from you.
Yeah, that was it.
So that was it. So we ran through a lot of positivity today. I did my best to bring us down. That's my job.
You did a great job
You
bringing us
really
down.
leaned into it. You really opened your heart.
I did. My heart is pretty tight, pretty closed up, but I opened it a little bit. I opened up those louvers, the little louver valves on my heart, and yeah, no, there's I like this episode because got me thinking about all the awesome stuff, and you know what, it's been like you said, it's been 10 days. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, for me, I think because they closed work a week ahead.
Oh yeah, I've been at work. I've been home for 3 weeks.
So, but they the first few days, it was really, I didn't think we were going to last, but actually now we've kind of found a routine.
Yeah, that's important.
Kind of into my crew right now, kind of vibing into my crew, and I like it. I like the fact that it's like a little, it's a little chaotic, but we're getting everyone needs to pull, do their thing and take care of their,
do your job.
Pull their weight.
Belichick says, know
do
your
your
role,
job.
Do your job.
Exactly.
So funny. So we did get one comment on our parenting in the time of Corona episode last week where we talked about the spring breakers, and I did a little rant on the spring breakers on IGTV. And Terry K mentioned on YouTube, did you hear about the kid who licked a bunch of products at the store?
Oh my God!
He got charged with terrorism. As he should.
Good. What?
And a bunch of those spring breakers got home and got tested positive for Corona.
Oh my God! Well, there you go. That's it. Florida gone. And by the way, it's not just that. It's the airport you went to. It's like everything that you touched along the way with your diseased ass is now. Anyway, what dickheads.
So we're hoping that this episode was a little bit of a reprieve.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a happy episode.
And next week we'll be back. We don't know what the topic is yet. I know Corona and the quarantine will still be in effect for most of us, but we'll come up with something, and we hope you'll stick around. Thanks for giving us some positivity this week. We hope we lifted your spirits, and we'll be back next week, right, Pete?
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Give us a rating, Apple, and subscribe. Catch you on the flip flop.
See ya. Bye.
I don't know why you would still be watching This Isn't a Marvel Movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.